So this will be a quick recap review of a movie I saw over the weekend with spoilers, and that was The Predator. What did I think? What did I like? What did I not like? I would see this with a mixed group of individuals with different points of view on things such as sci-fi, the Predator mythos, comedy, action, yada yada yada. So I was able to compare what other people saw versus what I saw. Now, I'm somewhat a fan of the mythos. I'm not like a comic book page quoting this and that kind of guy. But it was the first real taste of sci-fi that I saw as a kid, and because of that, I have a respect for the material. I really like the potential and just the idea of the Predators. I think it's awesome. But that's why I guess you could say graded or review it a little more in detail. So, as a movie, if you go watch this as a summer blockbuster flick, you won't hate it. It's not bad. It's got some comedy. It's got action. Some of the people I went with, they liked it. They thought a lot of it was funny. They thought it had good action. Now, I myself, having watched this as a Predators movie, I can say I did not like this movie. There were so many things wrong with it, and there was so much potential. Now, there were things that they didn't do wrong that I thought they were going to do wrong, and they didn't do wrong. But a lot of other things they got wrong, and I couldn't stand it. It irked me. What I thought they were going to do from the early pictures that I saw online was I thought they were going to do like a team up of humans with a predator versus different predators. They touched up on that in the last one, really, where it's like different tribes. Like wolves versus dogs is the example they gave. And I thought it was going to be like a big predator versus humans tag teaming with a little predator. And I hated that idea, so I'm so glad they didn't go with it. Unfortunately, what they did instead, it was better than that, but it still wasn't great. What they did was all the predators, I guess, are on the same page as they're upgrading each other. Now, I can see where they were going with this, and logically it makes sense that they would go this direction, but all this time that they've been hunting the most dangerous creatures, they've been doing that so that they can take genetic material and combine it with theirs to make themselves more dangerous. So, I thought they were just trophy hunting. That seemed so much cooler because they went about it, for the most part, in an honorable way. Had that, like, a native tribesman feel of hunt with honor or as a rite of passage, which they semi-depicted in a lot of examples previously. And I thought that was the main purpose of their hunt. Which, in reality, it's kind of dumb if you think about it too. Because super advanced space aliens, and they go hunting, so I guess. And at that point, they had seen so many planets, I assume that nowhere on their spectrum of the dangerous kill will you find humans. But hey, whatever. But I still like that more than hunting with the intent of collecting genetic material, because they never depicted or hinted at that before. It was mostly trophies before, as a rite of passage. Collect trophies, demonstrate trophies, prove your worth in the hierarchy. And now all of a sudden there's this storyline that wasn't there before. So it's kind of out of the blue. I feel like they just threw it in there. I don't know. I would have liked for them to be like one tribe versus the other tribe. The tribe with the predator that's the predator tribe that's making themselves, that they are making improvements to themselves. They are breaking rules amongst the predator world that nobody else will accept, and they sent this one particular dangerous predator, top of the line hitman or whatever, I don't know, their top dog with the best tools, the best weaponry, and they sent that guy to defeat the other guy who's gonna go collect more material and pretty much kill people just for fun because they break the rules. I would have liked that. If Tribe X they break the rules, they no longer follow the code, and they send their guy to Earth and like just slaughter everyone, collect everyone. And I don't know, some random tribe, or the united mind of tribes for Predator, they say, hey, send your top guy and subdue this guy. And it's like a fight between a genetically self-altered Predator versus like the top hitman guy Predator. That would have been cool to me. But unfortunately, and I did say spoilers, it wasn't that. It is a genetically altered Predator. And he just beat the brakes off of the other guy. He did not even struggle. It was so anticlimactic, no one even cared. So, more things that I feel they got wrong. I like the dogs from Predators a lot better than the dogs from this one. The dogs from this one look a lot like them for some reason. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know if there's an evolution of dog to predator, because I had understood that they're like plant creatures, but now there's dogs that look like them, so I guess plants evolved into either dogs or predators. So, I mean, I get it, because humans are supposed to be most closely related to pigs, and I guess that's the closest example they have to it. But more than that, I don't know, it just feels really out of place. And the way they command the dogs, it feels a little humanized. I don't know. The less connections I can see between the predators and humans, the more I like the mysterious creature that is predators. So in this example, I don't know, I felt they were too human, the way they commanded their dogs. And I didn't like the dogs. They weren't as aggressive or mysterious. The horned beasts from Predators were just killer. More things wrong. I did not like most of the people in the movie. Olivia Munn felt wrong. Instead of sassy chemist, she just felt like always bitchy smart person. The main guy was not charismatic at all. I don't know, he just felt like, hey man, I'm so rogue, I'm cool. Like, I'm always against the grain, I'm a rebel. Like me because of it. Like, I don't know. See, in the first one, the first few characters, hardcore, dangerous men, they're all on board. They all follow the rules. They all play to the military way. And they were good for it. It's like, man, these guys are legit. In Predators, those guys were all military as well. But they all, well, with the few exceptions of like criminals and, I don't know, warmongers. But they're all, to some degree, dangerous. But they are all rebels to the rules. None of them really play. I mean, like, the main protagonist in that one, Adrian Brody's character, he's military, but he's Black Ops, so he's seen the ugly, the nitty gritty, and he said he's decided that's not the way I do it. So he's a rebel, but somehow his came across as likable because he's a damaged, broken guy, and he doesn't play by the rules, and he doesn't know what's going on that planet. But he says, I'm gonna find out, and it doesn't matter who I have to sacrifice or what I have to kill to do it. And you can see that in the character. Those characters in Predators, they each feel very individual. A big Russian guy with a minigun, a Japanese hitman. What's the guy's name? I don't know in the movie, and I hate pronouncing it in the real world. Mahadershada. I probably mispronounced it. His character from what I assume is some African tribe at war. The cartel guy, they each had their own feel. The Israeli sniper, Adrian Brody's character, forgive me if I forgot anyone. I'm not including the serial killer, because I don't see how you could consider that dangerous. I mean, obviously he is dangerous, but not for Predators. He preys on weak, and they've obviously been scoping everyone out, so I don't see how they would qualify him as a worthy adversary. Topher Grace's guy is what I was trying to say. But even then, everyone had their own feel, and you either liked them or you hated them, but you enjoyed hating them, or I don't know, they each felt appropriate. And for a guy who didn't talk much and always sounded pissed off, Adrian Brody's character, it just worked. I enjoyed watching that guy either beat things up or get beat the hell up, and he didn't feel like Arnold at all, but he made it work. In this one, I'm not sure why they've gone the route of action comedy, and every character there was just, I don't know, like the only characters I liked were the ones that talked the least, because they didn't say too much. Like I don't know his name for certain, but his second in command, I guess you would say, once they've created their ragtag crew, the guy that shot himself in the head, he didn't say too much. He pulled off comedy just right, because you see comedy from the point of view of a guy who's seen some ugly things in life. He doesn't say too much, but he makes it work, and he makes things funny. The Irish guy doesn't say too much, but he makes things funny. The Hispanic religious guy says too much, not funny. Thomas Jane's guy, I hated that guy. I get he has Tourette's, but I mean, some of the lines he says in there, they're funny for, I guess, the audience if they don't know, but they're not witty. He says something just very out of place, very vulgar, something about in the pussy, and everyone just stays on that joke for, I don't know, 10 seconds too long. Olivia Munn's character, like she goes on to a tangent with that joke. Everyone else talks about, it's not a joke, it's something he says in a Tourette's episode, but they get stuck on that for too long. It just feels weird and out of place. Grab the camera. I don't get Keegan-Michael Key's character. I don't know. He's supposed to be dangerous, but it's all knock-knock jokes with that guy. And I don't mean actual knock-knock jokes, just like, I don't know, jokes like, what's one he says? What's the difference between his mom and... what's the difference between 5 black guys and a joke? His mom can't take a joke. But he's chock full of them. All he is joke after joke after joke. And there's just too many jokes. And I don't know, this feels like what happened with Resident Evil. When Resident Evil first came out, it was a horror game, and beside bad dialogue, it felt like a horror game. You felt confined, controlled, and then all of a sudden Resident Evil 4 came out, and then they started going the direction of action shooter video game. Completely flipped the script, felt very different, and they didn't realize that they just strayed too far away from where they were or who they were. And I think the same thing happened here, because the first one, and this is what kills me the most, was a suspense thriller. The focus was suspense thriller. You have moments in the first movie where they're just staring off because there's something that feels weird, and they all know it, they can't put their finger on it, and it feels eerie. And you don't have a whole lot of that here. You don't have it. It's action shooter comedy. Action shooter with comedy laced in it. Very rarely do you feel like, oh man, I'm weird. Like, something's going on. I remember watching the screen as a kid because the movie came out before I was born, so I assume people in the theater were seeing it the way I imagined, but where they're just staring at random points of the screen saying, like, I swear that's it right there, when there's really nothing there. But the suspense has you so enthralled that you're looking for this shaky silhouette of what could be the predator. And this didn't have any of it. Not only did they not disappear that much, but just the suspense was missing completely. I don't know, about the only thing there's a few things I liked. The evil guy that's running the, I guess, military operation, or scientist, I don't know. That guy gave no shits. He says, I don't care what's happening, make sure my instructions are followed. There's a point where he's being held hostage, and he's told that if he doesn't tell his men to surrender, he's gonna get shot. The guy gives no shits. He says, you know what? In 10 seconds, regardless of what happens, shoot that guy's kid in the kneecaps. And he's such an unlikable guy in the best way. I felt that was the most appropriate villain. And I don't know, you don't like the guy. He's easy to hate, and that's the best part. I'm like, man, that is the guy who This is what we should have been watching. He's such an antagonist in a good way, because he gives no shits. He is, if he feels you're endangering his program, someone's getting shot. Like some guy loses a hand, he's like, hey man, it'll be okay, and he just shoots him right in the head. Gives no shits, loses no sleep. I thought that was hilarious. Who else did I like or not like? Most of the characters I didn't like. There's a scene where, and this is like bad writing. I don't know. They set it up for a sequel. You can tell. More on that in a second. There's this scene where obviously he's trying to collect the most dangerous specimen. He says, "Hey, you guys, the Predator, because the Predator can talk now, at least for a moment in the scene." He finds a translator, and it's a translator the humans have. And I hate the fact that you can communicate with the translator, because one thing AVP got right is when the Predator talks to the scientist lady, he doesn't even say anything. He just does hand gestures. He lets her know, look, this is a bomb. This shit's gonna blow. We gotta get out of here. And that works. In this one, they actually needed dialogue, and I thought that was ridiculous. Anyways, he says, I need the most dangerous adversary, the most worthy adversary. And it turns out to be the son, because he calls him McKenna. But just because this kid, and he's supposed to be super intelligent because he has autism, but I'm like, just because this kid can figure out your technology, that doesn't make him a killer. He hasn't killed anyone. How's that make him the most worthy adversary? Just because he could read your things? Everyone here has obviously done more, and they're not worthy adversaries. What the hell? It just felt like they set it up, and they intentionally led you to believe, oh, he's talking about the dad. Like, nope, he's talking about the son. So, I don't know. I feel they could have done more with the movie. I don't like that they set it up with the intention of a sequel. I hate that it's now an action comedy and not suspense. I hate what they did with, I don't know. I don't like the way they pitched the Predator versus Predator thing. Overall, I'd watch it again with the right people, but only at $5 Tuesdays or matinee hour only. I wouldn't pay to see it twice at the theater, and I don't know, I wouldn't buy it. Netflix only, or maybe bootleg it. Gotta guess. Hey guys, thanks for watching.